Well, our second season on the boat has come to a close after 184 days and 1,750 nautical miles. Along the way, we found ourselves at 70 anchorages, nipped into 6 marinas, and enjoyed an extended stopover in the Whitsundays for 67 days. We got out to 6 reefs and 1 sandy cay, saw 22 islands, and survived 2 of the most treacherous bar crossings we have in this state. It's been a great adventure, but now it's time to head south and home. The first part of the passage plan south takes us from Cairns down to Cape Gloucester. We opted to spend a little more time up north to sneak in some more reef time, so our passage plan south is a little hectic with 6 anchorages over 6 days. This segment, 309 nautical miles. We're on the approach to Fitzroy Island. It's about, 2.5 nautical miles from here. It's been quite woolly, sitting around 18 to 21 knots. And now we've got the wind right on our nose, so the sails are down and we're just punching into this and doing a little bit of a rock and roll. Can't wait to get there. And bunker down for the night. It'll be a better day tomorrow. We're leaving Fitzroy Island that we came into yesterday afternoon to kind of break the back of the trip out. We've got a fairly long one this morning, 61 nautical miles to get down to Dunk Island. We're going to have a crack at getting all the way down. It's a sou'east, unfortunately. The easterlies and northerlies are starting to happen further down south, but up here in Cairns we're still on sou'easterlies, so it's going to be a bit of a punch to get through. I think quite a bit of motoring today. We did fill up yesterday, so we've got plenty to go. Jason's down there trying to get the course into the navionics and get us going. But it's an early morning start and a more gentle one than it was yesterday. It was a little bumpy coming across. So here we are, the end of the Northern Adventure and the start of the trek south. We've got to be south of Gladstone by November. So we've done a little bit of passage planning. We started out at Trinity Inlet. It's a bit bumpy, sorry about that. Started out at Trinity Inlet, had a night at, first night over at Fitzroy, and then taking the trek down till we get all the way down to Dunk, which is, pointing at it now, 61 nautical miles, so that's leg 2. That's a big day today. And then we're going to go straight down the outside of Hinchinbrook and pop into Lucinda, which is another 44 nautical miles. And that's leg 3. Leg 4, we're going to bypass all of Orpheus and all of those things and come all the way down to Magnetic. So that's leg 4 and that's about 48 nautical miles. Leg 5 takes us down to Cape Bowling Green, which is 47 nautical miles. So again, another big day, but one after the other. And then we pop around the corner, comes up here, connects up here, and then we do another 36 nautical miles down to Cape Upstart for leg 6. And then leg 7 is from there down, and it comes off the page, but we'll go through to Gloucester, and that's 50 nautical miles. So quite a number of big days. And for us it helps to do it on these maps because we get a sense of distance. We can also check when or where there are alternatives. If we decide it's too big a day, is there somewhere else we can drop off? So The maps are good for us from a visual point of view. But it all starts here with the logbook, which I've shown in a previous video, and I'll put the link up for that as well. But we drop in the nautical miles, the speed, the hours, and there's a whole stack of other stuff in there, including tides, what the moon's doing, and the wind speed and swell height and all of those sorts of things. But we sort of run that down to get a sense of how many miles and how many hours should that take, based on the projection. Like, it's all flexible, because obviously that's what it's like in boat world. But at the minute, that's the plan. That's the next 7 days. And somewhere around this mark, the wind changes to an east-northeast. So we should get a better run than we're getting today, which is just punching straight into the wind. Happy days.
So we've been out for 6 months, 185 days so far, and we've learnt, well, I've learnt many things. As much as this trip is about enjoying our surroundings and exploring the coast, for me, it's been about getting to know this boat. Not having a boating background, I think it's taken me a long time to work out, and I'm still doing it. There's many things I don't know, but I'm getting a better feel for how the boat works internally and externally, not just sailing, but how to keep this battery bank operating in the way that it's supposed to, how the water maker works, and how to manage the water tanks, the fuel tanks, repairing things that break, or just working out how to use them more efficiently. So for me, that's been a really large part of this trip. And I think my ultimate goal of getting to the Kimberleys, it would have been foolhardy to try and do it this first season. Honestly, the number of things that I've learnt about the boat, it just would never have happened. And even next season, what I'm thinking about doing now is making a few modifications to the boat when I get back to Brisbane, but next sailing season, which is pretty much from March to November, doing that section of the coast from Cairns to the Cape. So this season we've done from Brisbane to Cairns. Next season, if I rush back to Cairns and then do from there right up to the Cape, which is far more remote, and there'll be many different aspects to that trip, but that might be a really sensible next step before I do that really big one, where I've got to go right up around the Cape, across the Gulf, across the Northern Territory and down into the Kimberleys before you even start to explore that that area down there. So that loosely, that's what I'm thinking at the moment. Difficult to say what has been my biggest learning on this boat for the period that we've been away. I think getting more comfortable in certain conditions. It changes so dramatically day by day. It's not just wind, it's ocean conditions and how the boat handles that. And what course we make for that particular day. It's pretty rare that you get 2 days exactly the same. So generally I think it's working towards getting a greater comfort level with all of those conditions and not feeling like we are about to come unstuck in some respect. So in terms of the sorts of things that I think I might be changing about the boat after having the experience of this last 6 months, I've been wrestling with this installation of lithium batteries for our house bank. Currently we've got 990 amp hours of AGM batteries, and we've got 1330 watts of solar, and I've been finding it difficult to get back to 100% if we have a cloudy day, like one cloudy day, and we're in trouble. So we're then relying on having to run the engines or run the generator, which burns more fuel and is not ideal. So it would be an expensive exercise to install that lithium. I've been given a ballpark quote of about 15,000, and I'm not keen on spending that if I can avoid it. It might just be a case of increasing our solar capability and maybe get 2 kilowatts of solar, some more efficient panels. At the moment, each of these 4 panels is 330 watts. If I could get something up closer to 500 each, it would take up the same amount of room, but essentially give us 2 kilowatts of capacity or potential. And our chances of replenishing the battery each day would be that much better. So that would be a much cheaper solution. Lithium would certainly, it's got all the advantages, you know, it's space saving, and the physical size of the batteries is significant. The weight saving is significant. The discharge component is significant. You can, you know, there's current ones we can't discharge more than 50%, whereas lithium you can run, you know, almost, not right down to zero, but almost. So the benefits are there, but then you've got all sorts of issues with your insurance policy is affected. They must be installed by a qualified lithium installer, which I would always get to do that anyway. But it won't be cheap, that's the bottom line. And I'm not certain that that is the answer. The solar component might actually be the way to go. And certainly it would be a start. Maybe I'll do the solar first, see where that gets me. The other thing is that it's such a huge difference between winter and summer. When we started this trip, when we had the winter sun, being so far in the northern sky, the panels that we've got just were being so inefficient. So I'm hoping also that the efficiency of new panels would pick up the sun better in a winter sky. Now that we're coming back into summer again, these ones will probably do okay. So many things that you don't know really until you take the plunge, you do it, and then assess it afterwards. So even talking through that aloud, it makes more sense to me to spend maybe $1,000 or maybe $1,500 on new panels as opposed to $15,000 on new batteries. And the new panels would probably make a significant improvement. But I might have said this previously, one of my, I don't know that I'd call it a learning, but I have a far greater appreciation now for just how large the Queensland coast is. We've certainly taken our time getting from Brisbane to Cairns. It hasn't been a rush, but to take 185 days over that distance and to then see that it's the same distance again to get from Cairns to the Cape. Wow, it's such a big area, and There are just so many reefs to explore. You could spend the rest of your cruising life just doing the Queensland coast. And even the Whitsundays alone, we spent a long time there. Still many places that we didn't get to snorkel because we were doing it on good weather days. We didn't see the point in rushing around trying to go to a particular place on a crappy day when it wasn't going to be a good experience. So the size of the Queensland coast has certainly been call it a surprise, I suppose. Have a far greater appreciation now, particularly also when you're travelling at 4, 5 and 6 knots. It takes a lot longer to get from A to B. But it's certainly been an incredibly rewarding experience, certainly a huge learning experience. I wouldn't say it's been easy. It's been very difficult at times. Your enthusiasm for the whole trip goes up and down depending on the frequency of things getting broken and in need of repair. I think that also my competence level of having to repair something or fix something and getting through that certainly helps to make me feel better about the whole thing. So as much as it is frustrating to have things break, if you can repair it, it's a very satisfying feeling. Conversely, it's incredibly frustrating when you can't fix it, or if it's just not in your knowledge base and there's nothing on it about you on YouTube to help you. But it's certainly been an experience, a mixture of good and bad. Certainly knew it wasn't going to be easy, but I probably didn't appreciate how hard the hard things are. Those things are not going to deter me, at least not yet. So I want to keep going and hopefully keep learning, and hopefully the whole process gets easier because you learn more things, you get more experience, and the whole process will become more enjoyable and easier.
Third hook up for the day.
See how he hit it, missed it, and went back the second time?
Okay, here we are on leg 3, day 3 of the adventure on the way home. We got into Dunk about 5:30 last night, and we're up again at 5:30 this morning. Hooray! And we were going to go to Lucinda, but we had a little thought about that overnight and decided that we'd instead go to Orpheus. Easier to get into, easier to get out of, similar distance, and then we can just scoot straight back on out. Then for leg 4 to take us down to Magnetic. approach to Orpheus Island. We have sailed for some of the day. We're now motor sailing for this part because the wind has dropped off and we just weren't making enough ground. I've just sent Jason down for a quick nap. I've just come back from a nap. It's been a big day, a couple of days. So it's nice to be able to share that load and just, you know, put your head down. I think I was only gone for an hour, but I was out like a light. So it's cool to be able to share the responsibilities like that.
Today we're heading down to Magnetic Island from Orpheus Island, and Kim is skippering the boat today the whole way. She's released us from our mooring overnight and we're just motoring out between Orpheus Island and Pelorus through the channel, where we'll get into open water, put up the main and sail south to Magnetic. So she's got the reins for the whole day. I get to sit back and drink coffee.
Just past Albino Rock and we're now making a straight run towards Magnetic. We're on our way to Cape Gloucester. The wind is actually pretty good, but well, Kitty seems to think so. But the wind angle, you can see, is right on the nose, so it's a bit of a motoring morning. Little rolly, tiny roll, good, reasonable sea state in the sense of things, but because we're going straight into the wind, she's just a little bouncy. But it's a pretty morning. It's nice. The wind is pleasant. Temperature is great. We've just left Magnetic. Let's see if I can spin around. It's Magnetic behind us. So we're on our way to a place called Cape Gloucester. Who comes up with these names? I don't really understand that. I'll have to look that up. It's about 40 odd miles for us to get there. So another big day, but that's all right. We're kind of holding up. And we've only really got 7 days of just one after the other so that we can get ourselves far enough south that the trip then below Gladstone is not going to be too hectic. So what are we, day 4? Let's keep it going. The original plan was to stop over at Cape Gloucester, but we were having a really good run, so we decided that given that the moon had just been through the full, we'd push on towards Cape Upstart, arriving about 8 p.m. But we forgot that the moonrise is delayed after the full, and it didn't come up until 9:30 p.m. So we sailed into the anchorage in the pitch black. What could go wrong? It was my second ever night sail, but we got through it just fine.
Well, good morning. We are just leaving Cape Upstart.
It's a race. It's possible. We can still make it.